I bet you didn't know something. Technically, not all tags are required, but this idea has been drilled into us from XHTML that when you have a list item, you have to close it. If you don't close it, you're going to do something wrong and it's going to break. But the truth is, in all browsers, to be honest, the browser is smarter than you and it knows. And there's a specific declaration that says, if it comes to a new list item, then it needs to close the one before it. So if you wanted, it's perfectly okay just to leave off that closing list item. But again, for some people, it feels better to close it. So you need to decide for yourself what you think about it. All right, so let's reduce this down to the most minimal form. Maybe you're working on a demo and you want to get up and running as quickly as possible. I'll show you some of the stuff that we can remove. Technically, we do not require closing tags for HTML and body. So let's just go ahead and remove this. And I want to reiterate, I'm not suggesting that you do this for all your projects, but if you're working on a demo or something where it's not required, you can get away with it. Nothing's going to happen, and I'll prove it to you shortly. Let's get rid of the script because we don't need it, and we will wrap this within a UL, like so. And now we'll get rid of the style tag. Now also, the head tag does not need to be closed as well. And if we want to be specific about it, the browser is smart enough to know that the title and the meta elements should belong in the head. So we can remove that as well. Same thing with HTML. It's implied. So we'll get rid of that and we'll bring these in. And now if we want to keep taking it further, we don't need that opening body tag either. So we can get right up and running. We have our doc type, we specify the title, we specify the meta car set, and then we just get up and running. So I'm going to save this and view it in the browser, and let's see what displays. Now what we have is a simple page. If I view the source, yep, it looks exactly like we typed, but watch when I view the generated source. In Chrome, I'm going to go to Inspect Elements, and we're going to take a look at this DOM tree that's been generated for us. And notice, it substituted everything for us. So we have our doc type, but we didn't have an HTML tag, but it added it in there. We have the body, we have the head section, and again, it knew to wrap the title and the meta tags within that head section, even though we didn't include it. Then we have the opening body and the closing body. And once again, we didn't add any of this, but still the browser knew what to do. And this is going to work in all modern browsers. You'll find that, for example, in their 404 page, Google does this very thing. They keep it as simple as possible so that the page loads as quickly as it can because it's not necessary for very simple pages. For most real projects, you're going to want to stick with the template that we built in the last lesson. But I like to use this when I'm simply running through a quick demo. I want to try something out. Rather than pasting in a full template, I'll just use this and get up and running as quickly as possible. So more than anything, it's important for you to understand that you are not smarter than the browser. So if you believe that the browser is not smart enough to handle a missing list item, you're wrong. It knows it more than you do. And this is going to be the same thing. Technically, you could leave off a closing paragraph tag. Most people don't, but you could do that if you want. You could do the same thing for definition lists. So the key is to make sure that you understand enough about what's going on behind the scenes to make the most appropriate decision. But for most projects, I'm going to recommend that you use the template that we created in the last lesson.